blessed morn, when the great mediator down from the regions of glory descends. Shepherds go worship the babe in the manger. Lo, for the guard, bright angels attend. Brightest and best of the sons of the morning, dawn on our darkness and lend us thine aid. Star of the east, the horizon adorning, guide where our infant Redeemer is laid. Cold on his cradle, the dewdrops are shining. Low lies his head with the beasts of the stall. Angels adore him in slumbers reclining. Wise men and shepherds around him do fall. Brightest and best of the sons of the morning, dawn on our darkness and lend us thine aid. Star of the east, the horizon adorning, guide where our infant Redeemer is laid. Say, shall we yield him in costly devotion odors of Eden and offerings divine, gems from the mountain and pearls from the ocean, myrrh from the forest and gold from the mine, brightest and best of the sons of the morning, dawn on our darkness and lend us thine aid. Star of the east, the horizon adorning, guide where our infant Redeemer is laid. Vainly we offer such ample oblations, vainly with gifts would his favor secure. Richer by far are the heart's adorations, dearer to God are the prayers of the poor. Brightest and best of the sons of the morning, dawn on our darkness and lend us thine aid. Star of the east, the horizon adorning, guide where our infant Redeemer is laid. Guide where our infant Redeemer is laid.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Reverend Kristin Grassel Schmidt, and I have the pleasure of being minister of this congregation. I so dearly wanted to be with all of you in person today, but unfortunately, my family has been exposed to COVID through a close contact of 2 of our children. So far, we're all doing okay health-wise, and we hope to get test results back in the next day or two. So I have pre-recorded a couple of pieces in today's service, and I'll be joining you all in real time through the miracle of Zoom. This morning's worship will be different in other ways than it is on most Sundays. The service will begin as usual, but then people will have the chance to go to different worship stations, both on campus and in Zoom. For those who are at church on campus today, please remember how important it is to stay socially distanced from those not in your household or pod, and please wear your mask correctly over both your nose and your mouth, and keep it on at all times, even when you're outside. One of the worship stations outside today is a caroling station, and the UUA recommends people remain masked and place 10 feet between pods and households when singing outdoors. As the Omicron variant surges, it is as important as ever that we do everything we can to keep one another and ourselves safe. If you are joining UUCSS today for the first time or even the second time, welcome to our congregation. Ryan Smith is our welcoming captain this morning. Ryan would be glad to answer questions from virtual participants in the Zoom chat, and he will be available outside after the service to greet any newcomers here in person. If you're new here, I encourage you to introduce yourself in the chat or after today's service to others in the congregation. While some of our members grew up in this church, many have had the experience of being first-time visitors. So if you see someone you don't recognize or know well, please say hello. Each Sunday, we encourage those tuning in on Zoom to light their own chalice or candle to join us in kindling the flame of community. If you're at home and you don't have something nearby, I invite you to go and get something now. Let's also take a moment to express our gratitude to everyone who has contributed to today's service.
I'd like to depart from my script this morning to thank Reverend Kristin and Reverend Laura for their meticulous preparation of the RE activities and the service today. As most of you know, neither are with us on the church campus today, though both will be joining us on Zoom. Their hard work on what will be a surprisingly complex service gives me confidence in our success. We wish them both good speed and a safe return to full activity. Now, please join me in the words on your screen as we light our chalices and reaffirm our congregational commitment. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. In each of the 4 weeks approaching Christmas, we've lit a candle in the Advent wreath As Unitarian Universalists, we reclaim and reinterpret old traditions that are a part of our heritage, as well as exploring new ideas. So far, we've lit candles for peace, hope, and joy. Today, we add a candle for love. Whether we are finding renewal among people who are special to us, or doing the work of justice, or repairing our relationships, our sacred sense of connection runs through it all. Now, please join me in a responsive reading. Your words will appear on the screen. All love is holy. May our commitment to love bring us closer together across our divisions, and may love move us to healing ourselves and the world. Light the candles for peace, hope, joy, and love. In just 2 short days, people in this hemisphere will celebrate, as they did for centuries, with singing and dancing, feasting and bonfires, the return of the sun. In the midst of growing darkness, all focus is usually on the light. As nights grow longer, we yearn for the return of the sun, for earlier sunrises and later sunsets. But what if right now the darkness is the blessing? What if the longest night offers us something we need? However we have shown up today, whether inside, outside, or by the miracle of Zoom, whatever sorrows or joys we bear in our hearts, whatever holidays shape our celebrations of this season, come, let us worship together. With open minds, open hearts, and open spirits, ready to receive the wisdom, blessing, and inspiration possible only when we are gathered together in beloved community. Next, Audrey Engdahl will sing The Christians and the Pagans.
Amber called her uncle, said we were up here for the holiday. Jane and I were having solstice, now we need a place to stay. And her Christ-loving uncle watched his wife hang Mary on the tree. He watched his son hang candy canes, all made with red dye number 3. He told his niece, it's Christmas Eve, I know our life is not your style. She said, Christmas is like solstice, and we miss you, and it's been a while. So the Christians and the pagans sat together at the table, finding faith and common ground, the best that they were able. Just before the meal was served, hands were held and prayers were said, sending hope for peace on earth to all their gods and goddesses. The food was great, the tree plugged in, the meal had gone without a hitch, till Timmy turned to Amber and said, is it true that you're a witch? His mom jumped up and said, the pies are burning, and she hit the kitchen. It was Jane who spoke. She said, it's true, your cousin's not a Christian, but we love trees, we love the snow, the friends we have, the world we share, and you find magic from your God. We find magic everywhere. So the Christians and the pagans sat together at the table, finding faith and common ground, the best that they were able. Where does magic come from? I think magic's in the learning, 'cause now when Christians sit with pagans, only pumpkin pies are burning. tried to do the dishes. Her aunt said, really, no, don't bother. Amber's uncle saw how Amber looked like Tim and like her father. He thought about his brother, how they hadn't spoken in a year. He thought he'd call them up and say, it's Christmas and your daughter's here. He thought of fathers, sons, and brothers, saw his own son tug his sleeve, saying, can I be a pagan? Dad said, we'll discuss it when they leave. So the Kristins and the pagans sat together at the table, finding faith and common ground, the best that they were able, lighting trees in darkness, learning new ways from the old, making sense of history and drawing warmth out of the cold.
In celebration of the winter solstice. Why be afraid of the darkness? Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. We are born of this magic, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Darkness fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul not with despair, but with promise. In the depth of darkness comes our first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So why rush the coming of the sun? Why crave the lengthening of the day? Celebrate the darkness here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.
This time of year, the holidays focus mostly on light. Light lasting longer than expected. Light born in darkness. Light returning to rebalance day and night. And yet there is such blessing in darkness. Unlike my children who sleep with night lights on, I need complete darkness to stay asleep. Removing all visual stimulation from my brain somehow helps me surrender to the deep nourishment of sleep. I wonder if this is the kind of blessing the darkness has for us in this season. I wonder if the opportunity to turn away from the busyness that would hook our minds, to bow out of the to-do lists, to surrender to rest, is the blessing. I wonder if the draw away from work and chores and tasks and to the glow of candlelight or firelight or Christmas lights beside loved ones with warm beverages in hand, I wonder if those things are the lessons and the blessings. I wonder if the lure of rest and coziness in a season marked for so many by so much preparation is what we need. Like the virus that has so shaped our lives for nearly 2 years, darkness shapes our lives in deep ways this winter. And yet I find myself trying very hard to fight against both. This is a world and a culture that encourages us to resist, to fight, to battle, to shape our reality rather than allowing it to shape us. But what if this winter we surrendered? What if instead of fighting the darkness, we welcome it? What if we light the fire, not to resist the night, but to embrace it, to enjoy it, to surrender ourselves to the gifts it has to offer?
As you know, today's service began much as our services usually begin here, but soon we'll be worshiping in a very different way. Everyone here in person will be invited to leave your seats and go check out the many different worship stations, both here in the sanctuary and outside. Those in the sanctuary should have received a piece of paper when you came in that lists and describes the different stations and their locations. If you didn't get one, please find your way back to the back of the sanctuary and get one soon. Those tuning in virtually will see the virtual stations on the screen. In-person stations include 2 craft stations outside and a caroling station outside on the lawn. Virtual worship stations will be in different breakout rooms on Zoom and will include guided meditation and one that will visit each of the in-person stations here so that Zoom attendees can enjoy everything happening on campus and including in this sanctuary. The centering station here at the front of the sanctuary is our one hybrid station. The centering station is where those in attendance can write down your joys and sorrows and take them with you outside. And I will be checking the Zoom chat and sharing your joys and sorrows, those of you on the chat, with those attending the service in person. So, I know this sounds kind of complicated, and believe me, it's been very complicated to set up, but that's what we're going to be doing here for about the next 30 minutes, here and elsewhere, I should say, on campus. At 11:20, Michael will ring some hand chimes as a signal that it's time to wrap up, and those here in person should head outside to the fire that Brian Livelsberger will so kindly build for us. We'll then hear some announcements and a benediction and enjoy a postlude together outside. All of the outdoor portions after the worship station will also, of course, be shared on Zoom. But first, a few words about today's offering. Today, we will be doing the offering differently, along with everything else. Usually, we pass out baskets among those gathered here on site and invite those tuning in on Zoom to make their gifts while music is played. This morning, those on site will have the opportunity to make their offering outside in the courtyard at the offering station. In just a few moments, those tuning in on Zoom will enjoy some pre-recorded music while the rest of the congregation disperses out to the different worship stations. And that's when you're invited to make your gifts today. Your offerings go to support everything that happens here at UUCSS, from religious education to music and pastoral care, to the wonderful Christmas Eve festivals we have planned for this coming Friday. As you prepare to make your offering for this week, I also encourage you to make an end-of-the-year donation for 2021. Anyone can make an end-of-the-year tax-deductible donation using any of our payment options available. Also, if you'll be making a required minimum distribution from a retirement account before the end of the calendar year, you can ask your investment companies to send all or part of that distribution directly to us, thus saving yourself some tax payments and helping UUCSS. If you're interested in doing this, please contact the collectors at collector@uucss.org, and they can give you the details. We give thanks for every gift given today, for the opportunity to practice generosity, and for the ways our gifts are more powerful together than they are apart. Okay, I guess we're on target in terms of where we should be in this complicated service. One more thing before we disperse. Albert Schweitzer writes, "At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. This morning, rather than extinguishing our chalice, I will pass this flame, the symbol of our community, and use it to light the fire outside." I say that in the hope that there actually is a fire going outside. I haven't seen it yet. Does anyone know if it's happening? Okay, yes, good. Okay, so I'm going to be lighting a lantern right here, carrying this flame outside, and as I go out, please, for those of you who wish to do so, leave the sanctuary, go to one of the many stations, follow me to the fire if you wish, and the worship service will continue in that way. Thank you.
Darkest hour, no one can hold. of the quiet earth to you.
Deep peace of the shining stars to you.
Deep peace of the early spring to you.
Deep peace of the budding flowers to you.
Deep peace of the warming sun to you.
Deep peace of the life to come to you.
Deep peace of the autumn rain.
Deep peace of the harvest grain.
Deep peace of the winter night.
Deep peace of the fading light.
Deep peace when my life is done.
Deep peace.
Deep peace to you.
Deep peace to you. Cruel winter is come with its cold, chilling breath, and the leaves are all gone from the trees. All nature seems touched by the finger of death, and the streams are beginning to freeze. When the young wanton lands o'er the rivers slide, when flowers attend us no more, in plenty you're sitting by a warm fireside. That's the time to remember the poor. when the cold feathery snow from the north does descend and blankets the prospects around. The keen cutting wind from the north will attend and cover it over the ground. When the bright twinkling stars they proclaim the cold night, when the rivers are froze on the shore, when the hills and the dales are all mantled with white, that's the time to remember the poor. When the poor harmless hare he escapes through the wood, his footprints indented in snow, when the lips and the fingers are tinted with blood, the sportsman a-hunting to go. When poor Robin Redbreast approaches your cot, when icicles hang from the door, when the smoke it does billow, reviving and hot, that's the time to remember the poor. Soon the time will be here with our Savior on earth. The ends of the earth will rejoice. Then angels and men, hallelujah, shall sing. Then the rich shall lie down with the poor. Then the rich must remember the poor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
still here. I want to see how we're doing on time at the other stations.
I think I heard 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Shall we sing? Yeah. I want to make sure we get Jingle Bells in, but let's do another sacred one. First Noel would be nice. Okay? And then... Absolutely. Every time you're there to sing it, many, many Christmas Eve services, I've always loved it. You and Susie Shores taking that beautiful line. I can't see anything with this mic. It's really hard to sing outside like this. Very good. So, the first Noel, the angels did say, was the certain for shepherds in fields as they lay. In fields where they lay feeding their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east, beyond and far, and to the earth lifted great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Sing song, three wise men came from country far to seek for a king. Was their intent, and to follow the star wherever it went. Noel, Noel, thank you for that lovely desk match there, Maria and others. Thanks, I think I'll let you. All right, what we'll do is I'm going to pass on to our worship associate, Bruce McConaughey, and we'll finish the post-food and benediction portion of our service, and then there's also announcements as well. So, yeah, Bruce. Thank you, Michael. Good pass. And thank you, all of you. My goodness, what a wonderful congregation. Okay, today we have 3 major announcements and a few others. Tonight, for those among us who are coping with pain or loss, the holiday season can feel anything but merry and bright. If you'd appreciate time and space to name your grief and seek comfort with others who lose, mark your calendars for this Sunday, December 19th at 7 o'clock in the evening. Reverend Kristin and the clergy from Community Church of New York, the Greenville UU Fellowship in South Carolina, and the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood, New York, will be offering a service called Bluest Night with ASL invitation invite. All are welcome, and the link to the service will be included in the email that
Mike,
Get closer.
there we go.
Okay. And this Friday, everyone is invited to join us for next Friday for Christmas Eve. Weather permitting, we'll have cookies and caroling outside at 6:15. Then we'll have a hybrid Catholic service in the sanctuary at 7. And finally head back outside around 7:40 to light our candles and sing Silent Night together. The service will be broadcast live on Zoom as usual, but if you'd like to join us in person, please sign up using the Sign Up Genius link in the All Church email. Our third announcement is just a friendly reminder that next Sunday, December 26th, we will be offering a virtual service only. The service will be shared on YouTube, and we will send a link. This building will be closed. We hope everyone staying cozy at home, or with family and friends, and plenty of that service that way. Before you go home, please take a moment to visit the Joys and Sorrows table. Oh, that's right here now. Thank you. I wasn't sure where you were going to place the Joys and Sorrows. But everyone on Zoom who put together a joy and sorrow got theirs noted, and all of those joys and sorrows are there for your view. Please take a look. And the kids too. Good. Also, if you can, please stick around for a little while to help Michael move these chairs back into the sanctuary to prepare for Christmas Eve. Okay, yeah, I was looking at these chairs and thinking, sorry, these are chairs for the sanctuary. Chairs upstairs as well. Finally, the most important announcement of all, our wonderful auction committee will round out our announcements with a skit. Go kids! Go closer to Mike.
Greetings, Elder. How is our social experiment going with the Blood Skulls? We're doing really well. We are blending in very well. I have experienced curious neighbors, fearful driving school clients, and talkative taxi riders. I've experienced school, sports teams, and my boyfriend. We have not experienced an auction. It is strange that auction brings such joy to earthlings. You should attend the UUCSS auction. What do they have to buy? I hear there's a week's accommodation in Geneva, Switzerland. That's near our home in France. Oh, France! We must bid on that. What other things do they have for consumption? The email says weekend accommodations on the bay, foraging high-core mushrooms. Yum. Gift cards from Cuba. All things in the grocery store, handyman, garden, divas, gift vegetables, cottage pie. Is it possible to fit a cottage into a pie? Silly earthlings. Parental units. UUCSS needs many more donations. Is there something we can donate? Here are some things people want. Teaching card games. Teaching tap dance. Leading hikes. Power washing. Dog or cat sitting. Donating meals. Mass consumption of food. Yes, we'll ignite our new flame pit to char mammal flesh and cook s'mores. There are more ideas. Tattoo gift certificate. Alcohol tasting. Yes, we can indulge in mass quantities of unit. You could do that. Yes, I can fix anything. When are the donations due? Deadline for auction donations is January 2. Okay, we need to go and prepare.
Finally today, our benediction is by Howard Thurman. I will light candles this Christmas. Candles of joy despite all the sadness. Candles of hope where despair keeps watch. Candles of courage for fears ever present. Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days. Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens. Candles of love to inspire all my living. Candles that will burn all year long. Our worship is ended, and now our service begins. Thank you.
This song by a writer named Daryl Royacano. It's called Firelight. And you may have heard this on Prelude sometime. It seems like forever ago, about 2 years ago, David Uppelman and Walt Gomar performed it with our choir. Now we're going to do it outdoors. So Firelight is the name of the song. So I encourage you, the song is going to warm your heart, so get a little close to the fire if you could, although you've got to keep the distance as well, right? If that's possible to do both things.
I sit here by this fire warm and bright, sheltered in from winter's night, with candles burning, a wreath of white dawn. The season's peaceful light grows once more. Think of all the love I have known, miracles that make one home. What can I share now in gratitude and prayer? A list too long, line within a song, just truth where there's truth to be heard in the wisdom of time's own words. May we all know peace. May we all know as we look inside, as we look above, as the snow comes down on this winter's night, warm by your firelight, by your firelight.
I brought some strips of wax. Hey, don't kiss me.
Jesus and Mohammed joined in, using just like firelight can. They might remind us it's not the song we sing, it's how we greatest gift you'll ever give. Wisdom and full courage to live the life you need. Faith that you can never name, with hope through all that you believe in. Falls upon the evergreens, reminds us that tomorrow comes. Even on this darkest night, the hands of time return to life. Surrounded there with friends and the love you never lose. Family you came from, family you choose. Pray the light of hope always shines within your heart. Fire of your spirit, the love that you impart. It falls upon the evergreens, reminds us that tomorrow comes. Even on this darkest night, the hands of time return the light. Your family and friends, and with everything you need, by your firelight.
The musicians are cold. It's time to warm up. So, thank you. Shall we go in peace and warm? Right.
How's the emptying, the throwing out, the